So you might have seen videos of people trying out Ramadan fasting for a day or maybe a week. I am fasting, and I just completed an 11.5 kilometer ride from the Mall of Emirates to the Dubai Marina. I want to make this video to share the capabilities of the human body while fasting. As fasting becomes more mainstream, we're starting to see what the human body is capable of doing while in a fasted state. So in this video, I'm going to go over some of the scientifically proven benefits of Ramadan fasting.
What is Ramadan fasting? Religiously, Ramadan fasting is one of the 5 pillars of Islam. It's mandatory for Muslims to fast during the month of Ramadan if they are healthy and capable of doing so. Essentially, they fast from sunrise to sunset. Now, it's a dry fast in that they can't drink water, they can't eat any food, and they basically can't really ingest anything. So you do not need to be Muslim to reap the benefits of Ramadan fasting. Anyone can do a dry fast. In 2021, according to Gulf News, the longest fast is in Murmansk, Russia, at around 18 hours, and the shortest fast is in Ushuaia, Argentina, at 12 hours and 23 minutes. How does fasting work? We can read. The transition to a fasting state typically occurs around 12 hours after the last meal, when the liver's glycogen stores begin to run out and the body starts breaking down fatty acids in order to supply energy. This process is called lipolysis. As the available glycogen reserves, from which the body can produce glucose, diminish, the need for an alternative energy source, i.e. fat, increases. To satisfy this need, a process of breakdown of the triglyceride stores in fat commences, thus increasing the level of free fatty acids from which energy can be produced. Thus, the first change occurring during a fast is a transition from sugar-based energy production to fat-based energy production. Ramadan fasting has shown to provide benefits in improving lipid profiles, improving body composition, inducing autophagy, and improving gut health. Now I'm going to go over some peer-reviewed scientific journal articles around each of these benefits. So before I go into how Ramadan fasting improves lipid profiles, let me just give you a really quick breakdown of what this means. Any organic compound that's insoluble in water that includes fats, waxes, oils, and hormones. In the body, we're concerned with triglycerides, which is the term for all of the different types of lipids. Now, there are different types of these triglycerides. This includes low-density lipoproteins, LDLs. And what they do is they transfer cholesterol to cells in the body. And there's also another type of high-density lipoproteins, HDLs. And what they do is they take excess cholesterol in the bloodstream to the liver, where it is then flushed out. Now, obviously, this is a very simple explanation. The greater the amount of high-density lipoproteins, the better it is, because it's going to clear out that cholesterol. Excess cholesterol in the bloodstream can create buildups and then form into plaque, which can result in various heart diseases, such as coronary artery disease and other such diseases. So it's good to have a higher amount of high-density lipoproteins that can clear out that cholesterol from the bloodstream. A higher amount of low-density lipoproteins means there's more cholesterol that's flowing around in your bloodstream, and there's higher chances of that plaque buildup happening. So in a study by Mohammadzadeh et al., they found that mean level of triglycerides, meaning the total level of fats in the bloodstream, decreased while fasting. They also found that the mean level of those good high-density lipoproteins, HDLs, increased. We can see that over here. In a study by Al-Barha, we can see that fasting glucose levels actually increased during Ramadan week 2, and this was statistically significant as compared to the beginning of Ramadan. So one big worry that people have about fasting is my blood glucose level is going to drop. My blood glucose level is going to drop. But what we can see here is that that's actually not the case. The body does a great job of maintaining the blood glucose level it needs. And it does that by converting fats and triglycerides into glucose through various metabolic processes. We can see here that in Ramadan week 2, the total cholesterol levels decreased as compared to before Ramadan. And again, over here in the mean triglycerides level, we see that Ramadan week 2 also had a reduction in mean triglyceride levels, meaning the total number of amount of fats in the blood. High density lipoproteins over here have shown a slight increase. And another statistically drastic difference is the reduction in low density lipoproteins, these LDLs, in Ramadan week 2 was significant, statistically significant as compared to before Ramadan. So we can see here the benefits that Ramadan fasting has on the lipid profiles in the body. Now you might notice that Muhammadzade's study, for example, didn't show a reduction in LDLs, whereas Al-Barha's studies did. And that just shows you the nature of science. Different studies will often result in slightly different results. Both of them showed a reduction, but one study showed a greater, more significant reduction. And that could be due to a number of factors outside of the researchers' controls. They could control for the fasting, but they couldn't control for the diet of the participants outside of the fast. So it could be that in one study, the participants had a diet that had more saturated fats that contributed to an increase of that triglyceride level, and therefore an increase of those LDLs, which then showed a lesser reduction because there was more in the body to begin with due to the way that they were feeding themselves. Body composition. So Ramadan fasting can and does result in weight loss, but not just any weight loss. In a study by Siam and al., they found that body fat contributed the most significant portion of weight loss, while protein contributed the least. And we can see here that on the last day of Ramadan, participants lost about 0.8 kilograms of weight. And of that weight loss, 0.4 was from fat and only 0.49 was from protein. So again, Ramadan fasting has a potential to burn a lot of fat, but your diet is, of course, going to affect the results that you get from this. Inducing autophagy. So many studies have been done on intermittent fasting and how it induces autophagy. I couldn't find any specific articles on Ramadan fasting and autophagy, so I decided to use resources on intermittent fasting. Registered dietitian Scott Keatley says that in times of starvation, autophagy keeps the body going by breaking down cellular material and reusing it for necessary processes. The main benefits of autophagy seem to come in the form of anti-aging principles. In fact, Petre says it's best known as the body's way of turning the clock back and creating younger cells. Khorana points out that when our cells are stressed, autophagy is increased in order to protect us, which helps enhance your lifespan. At the cellular level, the benefits of autophagy include removing toxic proteins from the cells that are attributed to neurodegenerative diseases such as Parkinson's and Alzheimer's disease, recycling residual proteins, providing energy and building blocks for cells that could still benefit from repair. On a larger scale, it prompts regeneration and healthy cells. Autophagy is also receiving a lot of attention for the role it might play in preventing or treating cancer too. Finally, gut health. A recent article in the Massachusetts Institute of Technology website went over some of the benefits that fasting has related to our gut health. The researchers found that as people age, their intestinal stem cells begin to lose their ability to regenerate. These stem cells are the source for all new intestinal cells, so this decline can make it more difficult to recover from gastrointestinal infections or other conditions that affect the intestine. This age-related loss of stem cell function can be reversed by a 24-hour fast, according to a new study from MIT biologists. The research found that fasting dramatically improves stem cells' ability to regenerate in both aged and young mice. In fasting mice, cells begin breaking down fatty acids instead of glucose, a change that stimulates the cells to become more regenerative. And Omar Yilmaz, an MIT professor of biology, also said, fasting has many effects in the intestine, which include boosting regeneration as well as potential uses in any type of ailment that impinges on the intestine, such as infections or cancers. Understanding how fasting improves our overall health, including the role of adult cell cells in intestinal regeneration, in repair, and in aging, is a fundamental interest of my laboratory.
These are only some of the benefits of Ramadan fasting. I want to end with a verse from the Quran.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم وأن تصوموا خير لكم إن كنتم تعلمون.
And fasting is better for you if only you knew. And now we're starting to know.